welcome in everyone to RedRaiders.com. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Zach.
And this is the AJ Media pregame show. And Zach, we have Texas coming into town.
You know, a big game for these two teams. I don't think they expected to be where they're at, 3-5. Not exactly success by any standards, but still a huge game for these two teams if they want to close out the season the right way. And should be a very festive environment in Jones AT&T Stadium. We know how Tech fans love the 6:30 kickoffs. I'm looking forward to it. A big football game. One of these teams needs a win real bad.
Now, what is at stake for these teams?
You know, I think the first thing you look at is bowl eligibility, and yes, that may sound a little crazy discussing bowl eligibility with both of these teams, but you're sure as hell not going to be bowl eligible if you lose this game on Saturday. Texas a much tougher road to hoe than Texas Tech because they have a bunch of ranked opponents left. They have to win this game if they want to go to a bowl. And for Texas Tech, well, you have 4 games left, correct?
Correct.
You need 3 wins to get to bowl eligibility. You can't lose to Texas because then you put yourself in a position of having to beat Iowa State, Oklahoma, and Baylor, and frankly, folks, that's just not going to happen. So, huge game for these two teams in terms of bowl eligibility, and that's a big thing for these teams because they could use that extra month of practice. Secondly is just respect. These are two in-state rivals, more of a rival for Tech than, say, Texas considers Tech a rival. You do not want to lose this game and be considered arguably the worst power conference team in the state of Texas. That's what's at stake here. So at the end of the day, I know these two teams are a little bit disappointed in this season, but they will be up for this game. It'll be an exciting atmosphere. I expect a close game and a very exciting game in that stadium Saturday night.
Zach, just like you said, both of these programs are struggling immensely. Who's going to have the quicker turnaround?
It's a hell of a question, Shannon, because both these coaches are well respected. I know Cliff Kingsbury's younger and has less experience. Charlie Strong, obviously one of the best coordinators in the country, and then went on to Louisville, had a ton of success there. But both these programs are in the same place right now, and that's kind of surprising because we know what Texas is. Fantastic resources, fantastic facilities, and they just have that aura that they are the University of Texas, but they have struggled, and we know that top recruiting classes don't exactly get it done. Look at the Mac Brown era. They struggled even though they had consensus number 1 or number 2, number 3 ranked recruiting classes. That doesn't guarantee success. So right now I think these teams are on an even foot. Here's the thing you have to remember. Charlie Strong has a lot of cleaning up to do, and by God, he started doing it. He's kicked off a ton of players, but it's going to take time to get his system implemented and set. I know this season has not been good for Texas Tech and the fans aren't happy with it, but remember something. Cliff Kingsbury has a winning record under his belt in terms of a season, and he also has a bowl win. Those are huge things, and this team is building momentum on the recruiting trail because they have to get better athletes in here if they're going to continue to be successful. I think short-term Texas Tech has a quicker chance of turning it around just because Cliff has a year on Charlie Strong. Nothing taking away from Texas because Charlie Strong is one hell of a coach. But I think short-term Texas Tech has a chance to really get a jump start because they have a ton of energy in recruiting right now and they're that close and they've had success, and I think they can continue building off that. So I think over the next 2-3 years, you're liable to see Texas Tech get up to a winning platform quicker than Texas just because Charlie Strong has a lot of work to do.
Now it's time to give your keys to the game, Zach.
This is a tough game to give keys to because there is a ton of unknowns in this football game. But number one, I think we can all agree upon, the last couple years or even further than that, Texas has embarrassed the hell out of Texas Tech with its running game. They've really exploited the Red Raider defense. That has to come to a stop on Saturday night. This is a patchwork offensive line for the Longhorns, not anywhere near as strong as they've been in past seasons. Tech has to shut down that running game. I'm sure Texas right now is thinking, hey, we can revitalize that running game with Jonathan Gray and company because Tech's not very good against the run. They're going to come in there and try to assert their physical dominance. Tech has to shut that down. Shannon, if they shut down that running game and force Tyrone Swoops to throw the ball, he is not going to beat Texas Tech with his arm. I just don't think he can do that. The Red Raiders will win this football game if they shut down that running game.
Now, second off?
Second off is the big unknown that we're all talking about all week, and that's the quarterback for Texas Tech. 2 very different offensive sets, whether it's Davis Webb or Patrick Mahomes running this game. But here's something I think we can all agree upon. They have to protect the football. The Texas defense is damn good. They gave up a lot of points in yardage to Iowa State a few weeks ago. Other than that, they've lost close football games and they've held really good offensive teams to a limited amount of damage. They really held Baylor in check quite a bit.
And Kansas State as well.
And Kansas State, 23-0. I know you get beat 23-0, but that's a good Kansas State offense. Texas is getting better defensively. You can't give them extra chances, whether it's Davis Webb, Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. Protect the football. Do not give them an extra opportunity to score because that could swing the game game in the Longhorns' favor.
And lastly,
you look at this game and you think about this momentum. We talk about this all the time, and people say start fast, and I feel like it's getting to be a cliche, but this is important on Saturday night. As soon as we saw that 6:30 kickoff time, we all said, man, this is a nasty atmosphere. It reminds you of 2008 when Texas came in here highly ranked. Jones AT&T Stadium can be one of the most volatile places to play in the country when those fans are nice and liquored up, nice and fired up, and they stay loud. If the Red Raiders give that crowd a reason to stay loud early and really disrupt Texas and create a hostile atmosphere, I think that's key in this game, because we've seen that happen here where teams just snowball and bad things keep happening because it's a nasty atmosphere. This is a game where, as a fan, you can turn the tide a little bit, keep Texas down, and hopefully they stay down, and that could be a big win for Texas Tech.
Zach, it's time for us to pick the game. May I have the honors?
Have at it, Shannon.
I think I'll pick Tech in overtime, 28-21.
That's going to be fun for Deadline. Thank you for saying the word overtime and pretty much ruining our entire weekend.
It's my pleasure.
Any particular reason why you think the Red Raiders are going to win that game?
Well, I think if Davis Webb is playing, their offense will just
be that much better?
Yes.
Well, here's the key question, what you just said. If Davis Webb is playing, it's not very often you see Las Vegas afraid of a game. Right now, most boards, this game's not on it because they don't know who's starting at quarterback for Texas Tech, and that's a very difficult game to pick when you don't know who's doing that. And it's not that we don't have confidence in Patrick Mahomes, it's just Davis Webb can throw the football and throw it well when he's in there, and you just haven't seen Mahomes over an extended period of time. Very difficult game to pick. I have to go back to some core factors, though. The offensive line for Texas, I just don't think they're very strong. I think Pete Robertson and company can get back there, disrupt Tyrone Swoops, but still that Texas defense is tough. Low-scoring game. I may have too many points on the board right here. I'm going to go with Texas Tech, Shannon. 27-24 on a Ryan Buston field goal late. Low-scoring game, but I think Tech has enough offensive weapons to give themselves advantage and get a huge win over Texas.
Do you think it'll be an overtime game?
No, I don't want it to be an overtime game. It's a 6:30 start as it is. Right now our entire copy desk and online team's going, please, for the love of God, don't be an overtime game. And I think Tech fans would just prefer a nice win in regular time as well.
And plus, they would prefer to go out right after the game.
Exactly. I mean, you don't want to be prolonging your bar time. I mean, it's already late enough. I mean, we get an hour back, right?
Yeah.
You ever try to use that trick in the bar? We don't have to leave. The time just changed. Never works, but always a good tip. But yeah, hopefully Tech fans have a very good reason to go out and celebrate a win over Texas, but it'll be a tough game. Still, though, hell of an environment. I'm looking forward to it.
Zach, what are you going to be for Halloween?
I was thinking of angry, drunken Buddy Holly. You know, you get a Lubbock theme there, and it's not a far stretch for me to be angry or drunken, so that might be a good Friday night costume for me.
Please don't bring that to the press box.
I would never do such a thing.
You would probably offend a couple people.
Maybe a few.
Just a few. Now, stay in tune with RedRaiders.com and LubbockOnline.com for all your lovely Texas Tech information. But for now, we're going to bid you farewell. I'm Shannon.
I'm Zach.
And you are on RedRaiders.com.